Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Max. I'm a technician here at Hilltop RV Superstore in Escanaba, Michigan. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you through this brand new 2016 Montana. I'm going to do a basic show through around the outside, show the features of the outside, then we'll go inside and I'll show you the features of the inside. So let's get started. First, we have our Kingpin up front. There's a couple of safety accessories up here, like our breakaway cable and of course our Bargman plug to attach to our car for power. Up front, we do have a couple of a docking light here. We also have one on the cap. They are nice to have at nighttime for when we are hooking up. Our battery compartment with our hydraulic functions inside here. This is our hydraulic reservoir. On these hydraulic systems, this is going to run the level up system that's on the bottom of this, the leveling system. It's a 6-point leveling system. We should never have to add hydraulic fluid to that. We should mark those levels when the slides are in and out to find out where they are. If we are losing fluid, that means it is leaking at some point, so we do need to have that corrected immediately. We also have a large front storage compartment in here. It is made for a generator, that's why there are holes in the bottom, so we can store a generator in here or flammables or things like that because it's not vented on the inside. Around this way, this is our electronic control panel for the level up system. Like I said, this does have a 6-point leveling system. It is the best in the business, made by LCI. Again, very simple to use. I'm going to cover the instructions on how to use this. They are also located right below the electronic panel with all the things that I'm going to say to you right now. First of all, we're going to turn on our system. And then we're going to see our LCD screen here. In the upper left-hand corner, I have 2 arrows, one up, one down, and that's a toggling system that I can go through the different options on here, like entering manual mode, auto retract, and then it tells me the level, what it is front to rear right now, what it is side to side, and then it also tells me my battery voltage. The main thing is that this thing is, it's very easy to use. This also has what's called a hitch recognition system. So as long as that, when we unhook from the truck and our camper is in what I call a positive position, which means it is above 0 degrees on our LCD screen here, that means the auto hitch recognition will work at that point. If it is lower than our 0 point, then hitch recognition will be disabled because it doesn't really know where it is in space. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just raise this up a little bit in the front to make sure that we are in a positive position. And I can check that, by going through toggling through here and seeing that my front to rear, I'm 0.6 degrees in the positive. So I'm plenty high enough here to use the auto hitch recognition. So what we're going to do now is simply, I'm going to go right back to the beginning screen here where it says not level and the jacks are down. Now it says jacks are down. That is talking about the front landing gear jacks. It's just letting you know that there are some jacks that are on the ground before we leave with the coach. So what we're going to do now is simply unhook your pickup truck. I want you to pull it away at least 5 to 6 feet so that the tailgate or the bed is not anywhere near the Kingpin, because when I hit auto level, it's going to want to go down first. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to press the auto level button and it's just going to do its thing. We don't want to be in the coach when this is going on because we don't want to keep it moving. It has motion activated sensors on it that sense where it is in space to level this. So we don't want to go inside and keep rocking it to throw that off. Right now, it's analyzing and it's adjusting. And what we're going to see here in a second is that we're going to see the rear legs come down. All right, as we can see, the middle one's coming down. Again, like I said before, this is a hydraulic system, so the hydraulic fluid is going to go through the path of least resistance, and that leg is going to go down first. Now right now we have all the legs down. We just can't see the opposite side, but it's the exact same thing on the opposite side. And right now it is simply adjusting itself to level. When this thing is level, when it's done, it will come up and say success and we'll hear a little beep. You'll notice that there's flashing lights, and you might see those from time to time when we open this up. That is telling us which way the coach is leaning right now. If it's leaning more to the right than it is anything else. What we want is that light right in the center to come on. And when it's done leveling, like I said, we're going to get auto level success right here. It's just doing, and it's analyzing right now. Please wait. And as you can see, it's just fine tuning its adjustment to make sure that it's perfectly level. Success. Now that you will see on there, it won't stay on there long, but it will stay there to show you that. And now it says level all jacks down. That means that we are in a level position and we are ready to use our camper. Now, when we are ready to leave, to use the auto hitch recognition system, and basically what the auto hitch recognition system is it remembers right where that kingpin was when we unhooked it from our truck in the first place. So there's no guessing. I can actually hit the auto level recognition. It will go right back to the right spot. I will be able to back my truck up the exact same way when I dropped it off. By using the auto hitch recognition system, all we're going to do is simply push the left and right button simultaneously. And what it does is extending the landing gear in the front back to our original location. Now it still says the jacks are down because all my jacks are still down, but I'm out of level. And my kingpin is right back at the original position. Now there's two ways to go about doing this. Now I can hook up to my truck here, get everything set up, and then what I can do is toggle up here and go to auto retract, and that retracts every single jack that's on here. We don't want to use that function unless we are hooked to a truck, okay? So right now, since I'm not hooked to a truck and I still have to lift up the rear legs, what I'm gonna do is simply go into manual mode. And we can manually level this if we're on a steep ground or anything like that. What I'm gonna simply do is go up to the manual mode. I'm just gonna toggle up till I see that again. Now it says manual mode, hit enter to begin. So I'm gonna hit enter. Now it says I'm in manual mode. What I'm gonna do is hit retract, and you'll see the retract light come on. Now I'm just gonna simply hit the rear. Now the rear is going to be the rear 4 stabilizer jacks, or the leveling jacks in this case, and I'm going to raise those manually by just simply holding the rear button. Now that I'm done with that, I can just simply turn off the system and close the door. You are also going to notice below that you're going to see 2 knobs that say hydraulic room control. Those are not necessarily for the consumer, they are more for technicians, so I can control which slide out goes out with the hydraulic system. More than likely you will not ever have to touch those whatsoever. Like I said, that's usually for a technician to mess with. Under here we do have a large storage compartment. There are lights on the ceiling on both sides. There also is access for a 12-volt cigarette style plug, a 110 outlet, and our cable antenna hookup, so we can actually mount a TV in the front storage compartment if we need to do so. The one thing I do want to remind my customers out there is that there is some exposed plumbing underneath here, so I want to be careful with over storage and how we properly store our coach to make sure that it goes down the road correctly and doesn't break anything. In our side compartment here, in our front storage compartment, it has a bunch of things going on. This is where our water system connection is, our tank valves, battery disconnect, things like that. What we're going to do is we're going to start first right at the top, and we're going to work our way down. Of course, this also does have a light on the inside. And what you have up here, it is pre-wired for a solar panel charger. So we can simply install a solar panel on the roof or wherever you want. You don't have to install it. You can set it out on the ground in the sun. Simply plug it in there and it will help charge your battery. We also have what's called an outside shower here. This is a simple slip fit connection for a coil hose that goes on here. We do have hot and cold water, okay? Above this, you're gonna see we have water heater bypass. Now, when the water heater bypass is in the on position, that means the water heater is being bypassed. That means there is no water going into the water heater whatsoever, okay? When I have it in the off position, that means water is going into the water heater and we are getting it ready to use. Above this, the first port we're gonna see here is a freeze guard winterizing system. And what that is it's a pre-plumbed hose so we can winterize our coach right from here. And then to turn this port on, you're going to see a lever located right here that says winterizing. Now it is currently off, because when it is in the off position, it is drawing water from the tank. When it is in the on position, it is going to draw from this port. And this is where we can hook up a tube and stick it into an antifreeze jug. Below this, we have our city water connection and our tank fill connection. It is all located in one, and we are going to control that with a lever located in about the 4 o'clock position from this port. Now you're going to see it says tank fill power fresh. We have normal flow and fill. So when I want to fill the freshwater tank on this coach, I'm simply going to turn this lever to the fill position. Water going in here will now fill the freshwater tank. Once the freshwater tank is full, and we can find that out through the overflow or on the monitor panel on the inside, which I'll show you later. Once we are full, we want to turn it back to the normal flow position. And that way the pump will pressurize and we'll be able to use the water system on the coach. If we are going to use what we call city water or a garden hose, we're going to use a water source at a campground or at home or things like that. We won't need the pump because the pressure of the water itself that's coming through the hose is our pump. So we're still going to hook it up right here. But one thing I do want to remind you out there is there's going to be a couple things that you're going to hear me push. I don't want to say push, but recommend for purchase. And it's a couple things because as a technician, I see these problems on a regular basis. So what I would like you to purchase here, they run about $12 to $15, is what's called a pressure regulator. Okay, and that's going to regulate the pressure to about 50 psi. Because when we go to campgrounds, especially large ones, Sam's Club, Yogi Bear, things like that, they have very high water pressure. And if we put something in here with about 90 pounds of pressure, you are going to rupture a line inside and we will have a leak. It's a great investment for a small amount of money. Below this is what's called the black tank flush. Okay, this coach has the black tank, which the toilet is connected to. And on this, it basically is a sprinkler system in the top of the tank. And what we can do is we can hook a garden hose here with our termination valve open, and we can start flushing water through there. Now it is important to make sure that our termination valve is open because we are simply filling our black tank through this. So we don't want to fill it without it coming out. But this is an excellent thing for maintenance on black tanks. Below this, you're going to see our dump valves. These are our 2 dump valves for this system. We also have one more, which I'm going to show you in a second. On the left-hand side, indicated by the label, is black tank. That is going to be for our toilet and our toilet only. On the right-hand side is our gray tank, and that is going to be for our shower and our bathroom sink. We also have on the right-hand side our low point drains. What that basically is the lowest point in the water system inside this coach. We are only going to use these when we want to drain the fresh water out of the system, and it's primarily used when we winterize coaches. Above this we have a battery disconnect. Now the battery disconnect, when the key comes out, that means the battery is disconnected and it is off. When I stick the key in and I turn it to the right to the on position, that means the battery is now on. I cannot pull the key out. That's the other way of telling that my battery system is on. Above that, you're going to see 3 coaxial cable ports. That's a bedroom satellite, living room satellite, coach cable. We can hook cable TV up here, or if you have a travel satellite dish or a roof-mounted satellite dish, they will be connected here and they will go in and throughout the coach. Next, we do have another storage compartment here, which is excellent on these coaches. They do give you plenty of storage. They try not to let any space really go to waste on these. Below here is our termination port. Okay, this is where we are going to dump all of our tanks on this coach. This coach does not come with the sewer hose. You do have to purchase the sewer hose separately. One of the other things I recommend purchasing at this point is a clear elbow or a clear adapter. I know it seems a little gross because you get to see the waste come out, but the nice thing is I get to know that when it's truly empty, and when I'm using my black tank flush, I can start to see clear water coming out. Because even a little residual waste over time will begin to smell. So I do recommend using deodorants for your coach because of the way it is plumbed. Sometimes these things can still be clogged up. We can go inside the monitor panel, which I'm going to show you here in a little while, and even though we dumped our tank, it still says 2/3 full or 1/3 full, and we know that it's empty. To correct that problem, you can simply stop at a gas station, buy yourself a couple bags of ice, dump them down your toilet, go for a ride, let that ice slosh around your black tank, and it does a fine job of cleaning it up. Now, as you can probably understand, I'm big on black tank maintenance. So like I said, the clear elbow, clear adapter does help a lot with seeing what's coming out and knowing that you got your systems cleaned. Right to the right hand side, you're going to see a gray lever. That gray lever there is indicated by a sticker that says gray tank. That is our galley tank. That is for the kitchen sink and the kitchen sink only. So in dumping this coach, what I would like you to do first is connect your sewer hose. I would like you to dump your black tank first, followed by your gray tanks. Your gray tanks will then wash the waste out of your hose. So I always want you to pull your black tanks first. I also would like to remind you when you are done dumping your tanks to please close your valve and make sure that your sewer cap is properly tightened. Back here is this panel here is the rear of our refrigerator located on the inside of the coach. There are no buttons, levers, knobs, or anything to do under here for the consumer. But what I would like the consumer to do is basic maintenance on the coach. The best tool you're going to have in your toolbox is your two eyes to see what's going on. Behind here, like I said, is the rear of the refrigerator, and what I'd like you to do from time to time, maybe once a month, once every other month, I simply want you to pull this panel off. This panel simply comes off with a piece of change, a screwdriver, a key. You're just going to simply turn these 90 degrees and this panel simply pops out. Basically, I want you to look in here to make sure no one moved in. There's no mouse nests, bees nests, wasp nests, things like that. They all like the smell of propane and like to move in here. So it's one of those things, it'll make the longevity of your refrigerator last a lot longer. In the rear of the coach, from above our marker light here, you're going to see this black sort of port looking thing. We really don't know what that looks like, but what that basically is our tank overflow. So when I'm filling up my freshwater tank, like I explained before, what's going to happen when it is full, water will come out of here and let us know that the tank is full. Around the rear of the coach, we do have our 50 amp service. This coach is rated for 50 amps. Some coaches are rated for 30. Like I said, this one is rated for 50. Now, what does that mean to the consumer? Well, this coach takes 50 amps of electricity. Now, without getting deep into electricity, what that means is that's the amount of power I need to operate all the amenities inside this coach. Now, I know some campgrounds are only going to offer a 30 amp service, and you might even plug it home and have a 15 amp service. A 15 amp plug is a standard household plug that you see all the time. Now, I want you to remind you that when we go backwards in electricity from 50 amps to 15 amps, the byproduct of electricity is heat. So if I'm only running a 15 amp circuit when I really need 50, I won't be able to run all the amenities inside, i.e. the microwave and the air conditioner at the same time, or hair dryer and the air conditioner or microwave. Things like that are going to overload the circuit at that point. What I would really like you to do is hook it to the proper amperage gauge that is set for, which is a 50 amp service. Of course, if you can't do that, try to get near it as possible. Try not to go below 30 amps, especially on a 50 amp service. We want to use the proper gauge wire, like the cord that came with this coach, the short cord that came with it. If we use household extension cords, things like that, it's too small of a gauge wire for the electricity that this coach needs. And like I said, the byproduct of electricity is heat. So what will happen is we will overheat and possibly even melt our extension cord or even start a fire, which we don't want to do. If there are any questions like that and you are concerned with electricity, please contact us here at Hilltop. We do have a ladder to access the roof. The roof is not for storage. It is not for a deck to hang out on. It is simply a ladder to get on the roof for doing maintenance. I like to do maintenance usually once a year on my roof. I treat my roof like a finely painted car. I use a soft bristle brush. I use the recommended RV roof soap that they have and the roof conditioners that they use. Make sure that you use the proper equipment for the proper job. The outcome will be in your favor. Around this side up near the front of the coach, we're going to see a large panel here. This is the rear of our furnace. I do want to remind you it does get hot 8 to 10 inches outside here, so we don't want to lean anything in front of here or set anything that catch fire, including long grass. So we got to be careful when we are using our heater because, like I said, it does get hot 8 to 10 inches out here. Along those lines about leaning stuff on the coach. I do not lean anything on the coaches around here. It's one of our rules. The reason is if I lean something here and we go inside and this coach shifts at all, we could do damage to that item or we could do damage to the coach. So we don't want to lean anything against the coach. To the right of the furnace is our water heater. You can simply open this panel up by twisting that knob there, and we can pull the panel off. Now there are actually a couple switches under here and a couple resettable breakers that are located in our water heater panel on the outside. Essentially, this is just a shrunken version of our water heater at home. We do have our pressure relief valve, our heating chamber, and our regulator. Now, this is a dual source water heater. It does run off liquid propane gas, LP gas, or it runs off 110 volt electricity, AC electricity. Now, this has a redundant switch for the electricity on it. It has one located in the lower left-hand corner. It's kind of hard to see underneath this white tape. I'll remove that. And we can see that's one electrical switch. We also have another electrical switch on the inside. Now that operates the 110 volt function. Why there are two switches is, like I said, one is a redundant switch. Because basically what we want to do is we want to make sure that there is water in this water heater before we turn that electricity on. If we fail to put water in the water heater and turn the electricity on, we could damage the element that's behind here, okay? And it does not take long. It takes about 30 seconds to damage that element. So like I said, the electric function is out here. There's also one located on the monitor panel on the inside, and I will show you that when we go in here. Now you're going to notice this black panel up here, and it says push to reset. There are two rubber buttons there. And what those are is resettable breakers. Now, 99% of the time, you will never have to reset those breakers. One is for electricity, one is for gas. What I do find when those trip is when children like to play with the switches and they're playing with it back and forth or something like that, the system doesn't know what to do, so it faults out and it'll blow the breaker. Now this will bulge out approximately 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. You will notice it plain as day. You can simply push it back in to reset itself. Last but not least, one of the more important things on here, it's like the refrigerator, it's simply opening it up and making sure that no one has moved in. I guess not the last thing, but the very last thing is going to be the drain port in the bottom. Now this knob down here, which is an 1 1/16 nut, is actually our drain port to drain our water heater in the wintertime. Connected to that nut is what is called an anode rod. It is approximately 8 inches long, and what that is a sacrificial rod. And all the calcium, tannin, minerals, things like that that are in the water, depending on where you go camping, will attack that rod instead of the liner of my water heater on the inside, which is a good thing. Those anode rods last approximately 2 years, roughly, depending on how much you use it. You could purchase them inside replacements. They cost about $15. When the anode rod is approximately half gone, they say up to 70%, I would go with half. When that anode rod's half gone, I want to replace it at that point. Okay? Like I said, and last, I want to make sure that no one moved in. So just kindly open this panel up from time to time and make sure there's no critters in it. We can just simply install the panel back and it is ready to go down the road. We also have a GFCI protected 110 volt outlet on the outside of the coach. That GFCI reset is located on the inside of the coach. I will show you it when we go inside. And then again, we do have the other storage compartment door here that gets us around to the other side. We also have two 30-pound propane cylinders. There is one on this side, and let's walk around to the other side so I can show you the other one. This has two 30-pound propane cylinders on board with an automatic changeover system. Now you're going to see this part up here is what's called the automatic changeover system. What I do recommend and how to operate your propane cylinders, I would like you to turn both cylinders all the way on. Propane is either all the way on or all the way off. There is no in between. I would like you to open up both cylinders. That way what will happen is one tank will run down, and when that empties, it will automatically switch over to the next tank. That way if we're using our system in the middle of the night and the tank runs out, we're not going to have to worry about not having gas. Now up here is an indicator switch. Now this is simply an indicator switch. It does not tell us how much propane is in each one of these cylinders. It just tells us whether it has propane or it does not have propane. And right now you're going to notice that there is a green, what we call a green flag, located in the view window right there. And the lever is facing this hose. What it's saying is it's facing this hose, which is going to this cylinder right here. That is telling me there's gas here. If that turns red, that means the cylinder is empty. Now I can move this lever over to the other side and it'll point to this hose, which is going to the opposite propane cylinder. And that is going to indicate whether it has fuel or no fuel. Like I said, it's not going to tell us how much fuel. Propane is measured in weight. It is going to tell us whether there's fuel or not fuel. That is going to conclude the outside portion of this coach. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to contact me, Max, or any of our service technicians or our service staff here at Hilltop RV Superstore in Escanaba. Thank you.
Good. Shut up.